So to get where you guys need to be, and that's part of my job is your team leader, the head coach, general manager. I'm trying to get you guys to get to the next level for you and your family's sake. We have a lot of fun. We do work hard. We got an incredible team. But right now, if you really want to maximize your income, we have a lot of people leaving 60 to 70% of the business on the table, you're going to see shortly. And now it's the time you guys need to really be focused on taking advantage of the SEP, especially those 5-star plans we have available throughout the country. There's a lot of opportunity, especially in cross-selling your current book. Because somebody's going to cross-sell your book. Why not be you? Why not be you? Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of the things I hear from other IMOs, I go to all the workshops and training. I've made several dozen new IMO friends this year. A lot of what they teach their people, go in, get your foot in the door, and get that hospital indemnity. Just get that first. Because they already got Medicare Advantage. Let's not touch that right yet. Get the hospital indemnity. Then a couple weeks, so let's get their final expense. Then sooner or later, they're going to get that Medicare Advantage. Before you know it, they got 6, 7, 8 policies out of that house. And that's the way they're doing. They're creeping in with another product. You need to do the same thing on your current book because they're buying those policies. I see the numbers. Why shouldn't they buy that from you? Okay. So next slide, Michael. Put it on a Michael. So this is just a few of the carriers that we have. Guys, we went from a handful, and now you can see we got every brand name out there possible. Pick one and run with it. We got plenty of final expense. We got plenty of Medicare subs. Matter of fact, that's taken off with Ace and Affleck due to Mark Dennis. Mark Dennis, by the way, if y'all can give Mark Dennis a hand, over 60 new recruits with Ace and Affleck begging to join his team because he's got some unique things he does. Maybe I'll have him do a little workshop in terms of lead generation, selling med subs. He's a genius. We call him the professor of med sub. Mark Dennis is doing an incredible job. 60 new recruits inside of a couple weeks. It's a great job. We have final expense, hospital indemnity, critical illness, and also amazing dental plans. So we have everything we need. And that's why I was telling people in many of our meetings, we really don't need to add any more companies. We got everything we need. Just need to find personnel that will work what we have. We got plenty of inventory. Next slide, Mike. Put it on Michael. So Michael put this together for me. Think about this. I want y'all to just listen. Ignore the distractions. Turn off the TV, the radio, whatever else. I want you to focus on this slide right here and please take a snapshot because this is reality. Okay. You not only, but by not implementing and understanding this, not only are you hurting yourself, your family, your bottom line, you're hurting clients. The typical Medicare Advantage Med-Sup client is leaving hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars on the table every single day. A typical Medicare Advantage Med-Sup policy pays anywhere from, depending on the policy, depending on when they enroll, whether it's a T65 or how are the product, but it's a range between anywhere low and $300, am I right, guys, to about $750. Okay. And if you put it in the pro rate, that could be significantly different. So what a lot of these IMOs out there have really been preaching, we need to be preaching this more day one. Medicare Advantage is part of the package program, not just the package. What are you bringing to the table? We cannot just be selling cars without the rims. We cannot be selling cars without stereo, without the moonroof, without the technology. Yeah, it's a car, but there's missing bits and pieces that are critical in the overall, vehicle that we're trying to present to the client. We're leaving for every client $500 on the table just for final expense alone. $500. $200 for hospital indemnity on average. Cancer and heart, another $200. So agents, you guys, right now, I'm talking to you. You might not like it. Sometimes I ruffle feathers. That's what a head coach does. I'm here to knock you in the head and say, McFly, look at what you're losing. $900 for an average client left on the table. $1,200 to $1,650 total you could be making on every single client. So not only are you leaving money on the table, but you're also, not providing a full service to your client. I mean, you're an insurance broker. You have other products. We're not doing a service to our clients. We're not doing a service to ourselves. We're definitely not doing a service to our family. And I have agents telling me they're having financial problems. You're going to take a part-time job and sell insurance? Why not be Why not decide to turn a professional insurance broker and offer the other products that you already have and on the shelf? It's inventory you already have. Take some time and learn, but you're going to take a part-time job to get you through the holidays. How about this? Why don't you take some time out, take 45 minutes, an hour, and learn final expense, learn household indemnity, learn cancer and heart, and maximize and become a true professional in your industry. None of us on this call should ever have to worry about money ever again. If that's you, we need to change your philosophy and ideology about this business. This is not some freelance or some side hook that you're trying to do, or side hustle. That's what they call it. The kids call it a side. This ain't no side hustle. You got more than everything you need here. You don't need another job ever again. Can I get an amen? Ever again. Ever again. You got in this business for freedom.
Amen.
You got in this business for financial freedom. You got in this business to go change your community and help people with these products. You're changing and saving lives. You want to take a part-time job to get you through the holidays? You can't pay your bills? Are you kidding me? Are you sheep? What's wrong with you? You either in this world, the lion or the sheep. We got to start teaching this coming year, 2023. I'm going to start training lion and lioness. We're not going to have any more sheep in our organization. We're going to send them down the road because they're going to get slaughtered. Without a doubt, if you're not making $2,000 to $3,000 a week, you're doing it wrong. We're going to help you do it right. And today's the start of that. Next slide. So real scenarios. Let's say if you have 50 clients with MA. That's all right. I'll take 50 clients. They're going to pay some nice renewals. But after AEP, you enroll another 50 clients, averaging $200 in hospital indemnity. Then another 50 clients in final expense. Not even counting cancer and heart. But let's say if you just did those 2 out of the 3 alone. 2 out of the 3, you're earning an extra $10,000 from hospital indemnity, another $25,000 from final expense. These are clients that already know your name, already know your voice, already know your face. In that scenario, you're bringing home $35,000 by the first or second week of January. Hello? How many people you know in your community can make $35,000 in a month by cross-selling? That's a huge opportunity of clients that already know and already like you. And by the way, when you enroll them in a final expense or house indemnity plan, they're going to keep their Medicare Advantage plan that much longer because nobody else is going to get to them. This ain't rocket science. You don't need to go to Harvard to figure this out. It's real simple. $35,000 on the clients you already have if you have 50 customers for Medicare Advantage. That's huge. Next slide, Michael. Don't let me get started, Michael.
Hold on. I like one of these comments in the chat. I don't know if maybe this is just the first time I've heard it, but somebody said, Miss Kathy, you said 50% of making the second sale comes from making the first sale. I like that.
Amen. Who said that?
That was Kathy Chapman.
I like that. So let's hear. You guys gonna hear it from me? Because I could tell you the blue in the face. And I wish more people would listen. We'd have a much richer society. We have a much richer team. We'd have more people making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. I wish y'all listened to me more. But sometimes maybe it's like being a dad or a mom. You know what I'm talking about. You tell your kids all day long and they hear one of the neighbors something. They go, oh, that sounds like a good idea. And you're like, I've been telling you that for years. But they'll listen to their coach or their teacher or somebody else when they don't listen to mom and dad. I've been trying to tell y'all what to do. But let's hear from agents just like you that said, you know what? I'm deciding to take my business to the next level. I'm not going to need to have another a side hustle again. I got everything I need right here at Global to give the best opportunity to my clients and to me and my family. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So in our Sales in Action series, Kari, Brandy, and Charles Scott have volunteered to help out and share some of their secret sauce to what's made them successful in the cross-selling world, which is the new norm going into the year. I'm gonna tell you that if you don't cross-sell, you might as well just get out of the business because somebody's gonna put you out. Somebody's gonna flip that book you put on anyway because you're not cross-selling. Okay, you're going to financially have struggles even worse than you have now because you're not maximizing the blessing God gave you by having an insurance license, both life and health. You're leaving your talent out in the cold. You got to maximize it to truly be blessed in this business. Next slide, Michael. Go ahead. Come on. we got this young lady. And you go, oh, you guys know Kari. Kari's been with us for several years now. And I remember when Kari first started, she came out of a call center and she was with Cigna, actually. And she had her doubts. She had her concerns, but she used the faith that the Lord gave her and said, you know what, I'm going to trust Tony. I'm going to trust John. By the way, she's not been in the field. She's done everything completely over the phone. She specializes in Medicare Advantage plans, but she also does now a lot of life, a lot of hospital indemnity, a lot of dental and visual plans. And she's truly an amazing human being. She really, really loves and cares. I've listened to some of her recordings with Ellen. She actually prays with her clients. You know, I mean, you can feel her passion through the phone. She truly loves her people. And what's really special, she did so well in the early days. Her husband, Tony Brandy, joined our organization. So you talk about a dynamic duo, Tony and Kari Brandy, two of the best in the industry. I want to go ahead and welcome you guys to Kari Brandy. She's going to talk about cross-selling hospital indemnity plans and how to sell nationwide year-round through the BCC. Miss Kari, are you there?
Well, good morning. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Put it on, Kari.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? I hope and pray y'all are having a blessed week here. I'm excited to share. Thank you, Tony, for allowing me to share.
Wonderful, wonderful, Kari. So, you know, we already heard about how you got started in the business, and can you talk about that real quick? You know, I know where you started, but can you share real quick with the team how you got started in this business?
Sure. My husband and I, we had a very successful business in Florida for 20 years, and the Lord closed that door, and we moved up here to Tennessee, and became realtors. I thought I could kill it in the market, but boy, that is a little bit tougher when you don't have, a bunch of family and friends that you know. But someone told me about Medicare, which, when this was back in 2013, and, I wasn't even close to Medicare, so didn't even really have any knowledge about it, but ended up, getting my testing done, got in with Cigna, did a couple seasons there for annual enrollment. And then, of course, the field salesperson at Cigna told me about the Holland Group. I spoke with Tony, connected with John, and wow, just what an amazing opportunity it's been for me. I just did Medicare with Cigna, for annual enrollment the 2 times. But Tony and John kept saying, Kari, why don't you get your life license? And I actually did not, have it. I didn't have a need for it. Okay. And so when I worked at Cigna, but then I listened, I took their advice. Now, granted, I could have done hospital policies without having the life, but I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't understand how really easy, honestly, I really feel like it's easy to sell a hospital policy. And so I, took their advice that following January, which would have been 2019. I got my life license. And then, of course, I started hearing more about GTL. And I started, slowly getting into it. Sometimes, guys, it's just, I know a lot of our main focus is MAPDs. And so you really try to focus on that. But guys, like Tony says, if you do not cross-sell, you are really missing out. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't really believe that. And also, if I didn't really realize how quickly it can add up financially. What I thought I would do, though, is kind of share how I present this, to talk to someone about a hospital policy. So the easiest time, guys, and this isn't the only time, but the easiest time is when you sign up for a MAPD plan, and then you talk to them that 30 days later or whatever, sometimes it's sooner than that you tell them, hey, as you first, thank them for coming on board, ask them if they got their packet and their card, maybe mention them about, scheduling their physical, don't forget about your over the counter. So you're just kind of like real casual, right? Just talking to them, telling them how much you are looking forward to helping them and that you really appreciate them. And so it's like you're kind of like getting to the end of where you're going to say goodbye. And then what I do is I say, you know what, Mrs. Jones, right before I hang up here, I want to ask you something. I know you are very happy with your plan, but I wanted to mention to you that a lot of my customers will reach out to me. They're concerned about the hospital stay. That's typically going to be your most biggest expense on is your hospital copay per day. Okay. And so most plans are typically days 1 through 5 or 6, I tell them, where your out-of-pocket costs can average, anywhere from maybe $1,500 to $1,800 or more. And then having a hospital policy, Mrs. Jones, to cover that expense. And John Gordine's favorite saying for this is, it's the perfect marriage to an MA plan. Okay. Most often, what you would pay, I tell them, for the entire year's policy is about 1 day in the hospital. So I said, well, then what I'll say is, would it be okay if I at least give you an idea real quick what that would run for you? And of course, if it's not a good fit, no worries, but at least you would have the knowledge that if you did want this additional coverage, what it would run. Is that okay? So again, I always share that when Tony asked me to speak, I'm kind of one of these, I try to say what I want, but then I kind of let off the pressure to them. And I feel like when I do that, when I said to them, hey, if it's not a good fit, no worries, right there tells them that I'm not pushing something, that I'm not trying to quote unquote sell them something, right? But what that does is it just really frees them up to give me the okay, because I just told them that if it's not a good fit, no worries. Because I know that once I have the opportunity to present it, most likely they're going to see the advantage of having it. So by stating that, it then helps me to get them to agree to go over the policy. So as they, of course, tell me okay, at this point, guys, I already have an idea, what on their particular plan, they're paying, per month and per day. I'm sorry, per day, and what that copay is. So what I'll be doing is I'm bringing the actual form up on GTL is that I tell them that this plan is called Guaranteed Trust, and it not only will cover each day's copay that you're in the hospital, but it also covers your short duration stay, your observation stay if the hospital codes it that way. And also, if you ever have to go into the emergency room, and I make sure I say this, guys, a couple times, because I don't ever want them to kind of come back and say, well, you said it covers the emergency room. So I say, if you ever go into the emergency room for an injury or an accident, this company will pay you $150. And I say it again, if you go into the emergency room for an injury or accident. So then what I'll do is, at this point, I've pulled up their days, that they need coverage. I usually pad it a little bit, maybe $5 or $10, just so that they have some extra coverage. But just to give you an example, what I'll say after I pull it up, I'll say, Mrs. Jones, I can get you all 5 days at $325 a day. And again, that's going to cover your short duration, your observation stay, that $150 if you go into the emergency room for an injury or accident. Now, it's only $27.25 a month. Okay, now, Ms. Jones, if you take that $27.25, you times that times 12, That's only $327 for the entire year's premium. So what you pay for the year, Mrs. Jones, is about 1 day in the hospital. So, I tell them, like, most of my customers are like, okay, that's a no-brainer. And so I say, so Mrs. Jones, do you think having this hospital coverage would give you the peace of mind that if you did have to go in the hospital, to know when you come home, you won't have to worry about, paying all that money for those co-pays while you were in the hospital? What are your thoughts? And if I feel sometimes there's a little bit of hesitation at that moment, I'll say, another thing too, I want to mention, Mrs. Jones, that's really nice about this plan. Of course, GTL is the #1 hospital policy in the country. Your premium's never going to change. If down the road you get ill or even by aging, that policy doesn't change. You got it. I'll even state that, listen, let's say you're down in Florida and you're on vacation and you have to go into the hospital. Guess what? That's going to be covered as well. So again, can you see, Mrs. Jones, how this is going to make sense to have this additional coverage for you? What are your thoughts? So, it is really kind of shocking how often, you'll be surprised, they'll be like, well, yeah, that does make sense, right? Now, depending on how the conversation goes, at that point, if they're like, oh yeah, no, that sounds great. Like they didn't have any issue with the 27.25. I'll say, now I want to mention this too, Mrs. Jones, you don't have to add this, right? So see how I said that again? I give them an out, right? And I say, you don't have to add this, but now a lot of my customers want to add the ambulance, and your ambulance might be, and again, it varies on the plan, guys. You gotta have to look. Let's say it's $250 for that ambulance. And so this will cost you an additional, usually it's like, I want to say it's like a couple bucks. It's not much. And so I'll say, Mrs. Jones, we can add that if you'd like that. That's up to 12 ambulances a year. So it is renewable as well during that year, up to 12. And a lot of my customers, again, for just a couple extra dollars, they wanna add that. And then depending again how that goes, I might even throw in, also, Mrs. Jones. Now listen, I don't know if this is your all situation, but I actually have some of my clients, not too many, but some of them have some cancer, in their family's history. And they ask me if I have any cancer coverage. Is that something, you'd at least like me to give you an idea what that would run? And that one doesn't usually typically, someone will say, but believe me, I've had a few that I do have added cancer on there. So again, guys, really, it's just asking, right? And so, well, okay, Mrs. Jones, so does the hospital coverage and that ambulance, does that fit your budget? This way, you're going to have this peace of mind to have this coverage. What are your thoughts? And then, of course, you'll be shocked how many people say yes. And then what I do at that point, I'll say, real quick though, before we move on, they do have just a few health questions. Is it all right if I ask you those? Oh yeah, go ahead. And I know I've done it so many times. I know obviously you can't have been in the hospital. It used to be 6 months. Now it's only 3 months. So I'll ask that as I pull up the application, ask them these few questions, and hopefully they're not on insulin, because that, if they tell you they're on insulin, that right there is a deal breaker on a hospital. However, ask them those questions. Really, most people pass it. And so then I'm like, well, that's great, Mrs. Jones. You should not have any problem getting approved. We just have to do an application. The application is really quick on this plan. So what we'll do is let's pull this up and we'll go through it and get it submitted for you. And usually you get approved, Mrs. Jones, probably, within 24 hours. Sometimes I get the approval even that day. Now, before I pull this up, and I'm actually doing this, typing while I do this, what I am going to need you to do is to get I need to for you to figure out who is going to be your beneficiary. I say that first. Because, listen, Mrs. Jones, I know you might not think a hospital policy, you'd have a beneficiary. However, let's say you're in there the 5 days and the Lord was to take you home, your loved one would get that money. So that'll be a blessing to them. And so what we can do, if you could grab also if you already know you have their social, maybe because of some other things you've done in the past, you don't need to ask that, but you'll say, because what you don't want to do is start the application for them to tell you they're not going to give you their social and they're not going to give you their checking information. So I ask this up front, and I'll say, if you want to go ahead, figure out who you want to use for your beneficiary, also to get your checkbook, because they do an automatic withdrawal, just like all insurances, your car insurance, your homeowner, they take that automatically out of your account. And so if you could grab that for me, Mrs. Jones. And then guys, once you get past just those few things that you asked them to do, you go through the app. At the end, it's a phone verification call that it's not with a human. It's just a recording that they just have to answer yes a few times, and it's done. Guys, again, I'm not quite at the numbers where Tony has, as far as, because I don't do a ton of life insurance. I do ask often, but 2019, I really started getting into that hospital, and I sold 1,136 policies. 2020, it went up to 1,785 the year. In 21, I made 4,622. In 22, and I'm not done yet because I'm going to be getting some more hospital policies before the end of this year, I'm praying. I'm over $6,000 a year. Now, guys, I'm going to keep building that. And, some people might think, 6,000 isn't much. To me, it's a lot. And so I'm going to keep building, I'm going to keep doing, but it's not just about the money. It's about helping people. It's about meeting that need. It's about giving them, because I'll tell you what, you have no idea how many times people call me and say, oh my God, Kari, I'm so glad that I had that hospital coverage. Thank you so much. So that in a nutshell is kind of how I handle it. I have some notes. If anybody would like those, I can send them on. And so Tony, back at you.
Thank you, Kari. So how can they reach out to you, Kari, in terms of finding out additional, like you said, notes and questions? Great job, Kari. How can they reach out to you?
They can just email me, and I can send it to them. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you.
And I'll email it to them.
Awesome job. Can y'all give Kari your hand? Come on.
Thanks, Tony, for letting me share.
No, thank you for sharing.
Great job, Kari. Great job.
Yeah.
Great job, Kari. Way to go.
Awesome. Yes.
Great job, Kari.
The main thing is she asks. That's it. All you got to do is the 60-second checkup and then ask. Call your people back and ask them. And you got to stories sell. You got to tell the story, and what it's going to do for them and their family. This is an unbelievable opportunity to help your client, but also to help you and your family, and you don't need a side hustle. Do a hospital indemnity. That's an extra, $200 per client right there. So awesome job, Kari. Thank you so much. And just keep
Tony?
it up, Kari. Yes.
This is Cordia in Dallas. Everett asked me to ask this question. So, Kari, did you say that the hospital indemnity will also cover them in the ER if they're there for an accident, as well as their hospital inpatient copays? Is that right?
So how it's worded on GPL is if it's an injury or an accident. And that's why I do state it twice, because if they went in there, because let's say they got COVID or they're like super sick or whatever, right? That they don't pay the $150 for that. Okay. Now, this is what's nice. And sometimes I'll go into this, but usually I don't, only because of time's sake. They have that $90 copay that they might have to pay for their emergency room. But if they get admitted into the hospital because of that injury or accident, that 90 gets waived. They're going to get to keep that 150. So you can bring that up if you'd like to, but it's just injury or accident. They get that 150.
Great job. Thank you, Kari. Great question. Super job. Again, thank you, Kari. We're going to move because I know we're limited on time. But Kari, if you guys need Kari, reach out to her. She's going to chat or email to you guys. She's more than willing to help. And, whatever you need from them, that's one thing I love about our top people. They're willing to pay it forward. Yeah, they're not hoarders of their knowledge and information. They're willing to share it with good people because ultimately there's enough business for all of us out there to help people in need. So thank you again, Kari. Our next speaker, this gentleman has been with us for a couple of years, has really done an incredible job transforming the Chicago market. He's the number 5 producer in our organization year to date, but what he's done extremely well because of his background in corporate sales. He's been a sales director. He's done a lot of sales with Mass Mutual as well as many other final expense companies like Transamerica. He's actually started in business when he was a kid, 20 years old in the business. And he met Everett Fonay back in 2017 and learned about Medicare. And he's one of the best in the industry. And he's great. He's really, really excellent in converting, getting Medicare Advantage clients. Obviously, he's done a great job with that with many carriers, but also transitioning them into final expense. Let's give it up to Mr. Charles Scott. Charles, are you there?
Hey, thanks, Tony.
Put it on him, Charles. Put it on him.
Good morning, man. I appreciate the love, Tony. I do. And let me just say, when I met Tony, I didn't even know he was like Tony. He was that much down to earth as a professional, man. So I really, really appreciate the way that you support us, Tony. And man, this opportunity has just it's been a secret weapon of mine for myself, for my life. So thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. As far as I wish I could give some secret really sauce or some type of secret code to what I do, everybody, but it's really, really super simple. Like Tony said, I started really, really young at 20 in sales in general. And how I started was trying to help somebody. I grew up in, some of those depressed areas in Chicago that you heard about on TV. And I saw these guys locked out of their car. They looked cool. Okay, they had suits and, nice Cadillac, got them in the car and they wanted to give me money. And one guy gave me his business card. Turned out he was the vice president of sales of this insurance company, gave me a job, mentored me, tried to help the guy. Relationships really, really saved me up until this point, and they continue to. So, I started with life insurance first, and I positioned myself as not a salesperson. I learned that I was a relationship person. Chicago's kind of like a fraternity, so everybody knows everybody who's trying to do something, and everybody also knows people to stay away from. So just as a young guy mentored by a bunch of different people like you, they share stuff with you here in Chicago. So one of the biggest things that I do with life insurance, final expense, is I partner with a lot of different community organizations. Google was my best friend. Some government officials mentor me, kind of keep me up under their wing to this day. And I would do a lot of different presentations with life insurance and final expense. I learned that first, okay? Everybody wants life insurance. They just want to know or need to know that you're the person who has it. That's all. And when people trust you, they refer other people to you. Those people who fed me, in turn, I feed them. So, when I'm doing Medicare Advantage now, Everett showed me the ropes. I mean, he's the best, and I incorporated that with life insurance. The people that I put in Medicare plans, I position it as, hey, look, listen, you have your family attorney, you have your family doctor. I said, now you got your family insurance agent. Me and you are connected for life. And that makes them feel good. It doesn't matter if it's a person in their 70s, 80s. It could be a person just turning 65. They know and they feel good that they do not have to go anywhere else for insurance. So once we've gotten that taken care of with the Medicare, maybe 7 to 10 days, and I always make a strategic plan to call somebody back. I make sure they get just like Kari said. You want to make sure they got a welcome packet or a welcome call. Look out for their insurance cards, ID cards, any other additional information that they need. And most importantly, you're asking for referrals. Anybody else who needs help? I never say, is there anybody else who needs insurance? And then I said, it's really, really simple. I just say, hey, man, when was the last time you guys looked at your life insurance? And a light turns on. If you're sitting in front of somebody, you will see a difference in their face. Believe it. And they're saying, you know what? I've been meaning to add some. I got this $10,000 policy and I know it's not enough. My husband's been telling me and I need to get one on him as well, too. How much would it cost? The main thing that people want to know is how much would it cost and how much insurance they can get. Now, they already trust you because you put them in the best Medicare plan for themselves. And you told them, I'm going to be reaching out to you a couple times a year because there's new entitlements that come out every single year that you might qualify for. So they're already connected, in multiple ways. They're going to do insurance with you. It's just a point of, how much, and when it comes to something that a person is paying for, believe it, guys, I'm telling you, they will pay for something faster than signing up for something that they don't have to pay for. I see it all the time in the Black community, all the time. And historically, one of the ways in the Black community that we pass on wealth is through life insurance. Okay. The basic life insurance policy doesn't, I don't go into the financial advising and all of that kind of stuff because I'm more of a health guy. But because of the position historically that we've been, in this country, Black people buy the most life insurance, believe it or not, a lot of other groups, and specifically more than enough. They try to anyway. Now, most people just simply say, hey, look, let me go ahead and get this policy now. Can you come over now? Can we do it over the phone? What do we have to do? And I just give them what they want. But I position myself as a resource because there are people who can't really afford a lot. As a matter of fact, I help people sign up for Medicaid, help people sign up for link cards, food stamps, and they love you forever. And they might not do business with you, but they're going to forward somebody else to you who needs that business. It's all about the relationships, not selling. It's about the relationships. And in Chicago, we call it being the plug. Okay. So, I'm the plug of sorts when it comes to a lot of different resources, people out here, and I do just like everyone else. Everybody else is walking around with 200-300, contacts in their cell phone. I started texting every single person in my cell phone. Hey, I do life insurance. If you guys notice, I'm really not talking a lot about Medicare because Medicare is automatic when you've done life insurance. Believe it. And when I met Everett pointed something out to me about Medicare. He said, if you do Medicare, they will do life insurance with you. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm already doing life insurance, so I know they're going to do Medicare. But they go together, believe it. So once I found out that the final expense paid in like 2 days, maybe 3 days, oh, you didn't have to tell me anything about that. It's just simply reaching out to the people that I already knew about insurance. And then they tell people, and then they tell people, and then they tell people. And then I come back around and do Medicare. That's what I've done. Believe it. Now, it took me a while to kind of gain some traction on Medicare because I just kept getting all of these different offers that I couldn't refuse as far as employment was concerned. This year, it's, we have a opportunity to be able to build on something here in Chicago because some of the employment opportunities didn't present themselves in the right way. So I was like, let's go ahead and just focus on this independent business. And trust me, guys, life insurance, everybody wants it. They simply want you to be the person to give it to them. Now, they've already been denied for life insurance, believe me. So it's a touchy subject with them, especially when we're dealing with people with chronic illness and things, so you want to let them kind of give you the rundown once you put the question out there, because they're going to tell you everything, and trust me, if you're able to help, even if it's with a final expense policy, you've done a huge solid for that family. A lot of seniors also, they buy life insurance for grandchildren, children. And then their children go and say, hey, look, I want to get some extra on my brother, or my sister. So I find myself doing 5, 6, and they come in spurts, guys. They come in spurts. The children's life insurance policy, they don't pay a whole bunch, but you're helping people. And understand, you're helping people. And when you help people, you're a resource. You're not just a salesperson. Like when I started off, and I said, literally, I started this business trying to help somebody who was locked out of their car. And yes, Kari, I sell a lot of life insurance to people who have Medicaid and Medicare. But the main thing is a lot of people on Medicaid, they can only have so much, especially if they're receiving Social Security. They already know everything before they start talking to you. They know exactly need and what they can't have, and they will just tell you. So it's really not about selling. Like I said, it's just the point of giving them what they want, and what they can afford. You're helping them. So my main company is Mutual of Omaha. Okay. They're super duper easy, user friendly. I do most of my policies over the phone. And when I get a case for a final expense that's maybe not able to be approved, I'll go to Prosperity and they approve it right away. But again,
guys, I'm gonna tell you, Charles, I don't mean to jump in on you, man.
Yeah.
While I was looking at your numbers, you made well over just upfront money, an extra $100,000 on the side, selling life insurance.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it pays right.
You
right
making
away.
all this? It shocks me that people are willing to go take a side hustle job for $20 an hour. You helping your clients you already have, and you made an extra well over $100,000 helping them on a book of business you already have this year. $100,000. And people say they can't pay their bills. People say they don't have money for this or money for that. I can't do that. I can't. It's sad that they're in the business of wealth. We're in the business of opportunity in the life and health sector. Millionaires are being made every year in this business. You got people out there with a license and not using it. And it just shocks me. I looked at your numbers while you were talking. It popped up 100. You made well over $100,000 on the side. Blows me away.
Just with life insurance, it's something
that's not
that people
telling your
want.
Medicare sales and all the other stuff. It just blows me away.
Yeah,
Blows me away. But you know what? They're not going to listen to you, Charles.
You just try to help people.
Because I've been telling these people, Charles, for years. They don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. It's sad. They see. We got to be people to help me wake them up, Charles. You're making an extra $100,000 on the side. Helping people. Blows me away. Blows me away. It just blows me away. I'm blown away. Keep going, Charles. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, man. But
no, I'm good.
I had to throw some thunder in there because I love Charles. I do love people. I love all people, man. It just shocks me how many people. It's like, they rather go online and listen to somebody they don't know nothing about and take their tips online. They got me here for them. I came from nothing in this business. Lived down in a van this business. I've made 7-figure, 8-figure money in this business, but they'll listen to somebody else. I'm the real deal, and I've been trying to tell them this. We got people on this call right now leaving $100,000 to $200,000 for somebody else to take. Each and every one of them, an extra $100,000 to $200,000. They just listen to you and Kari. Don't listen to me. Just forget about what I said. Listen to what Kari just told you. An extra $100,000 to $200,000, and that alone, off your current book you already got. Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
Well, that was it. Pretty much just position yourself as helping people.
Hello?
That's it. They will trust you already anyway. Just present it. And now I'm to the point where I only work by referral, especially when it comes to life insurance. I don't even go and telemarket or nothing like that. Definitely recommend Prosperity for hard to place, because they will place those policies, those final expense policies. They will. A little bit more expensive, but again, the coverage is the value. They just simply need to know you have it. But anybody can reach out to me
in our portfolio. All you got to do is reach out to your upline or reach out to Miss Felicia Fleming. We'll get you that contract today. You're leaving $100,000 to $200,000 on the table every year. Charles, I want to thank you, man. Any other final words, Charles? Because I know we're well at the top of the hour. Any other final words, and we'll open up to a question. Go ahead, Charles.
No, sir. Just position yourself as helping the people that you've already helped, and you're good. That's it. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.
Keep it up, man. Keep taking advantage of the opportunity. That's what I love about you and Trey and Kari and Chauncey and Eric. People that are really going out there and say, you know what, I'm going to take the opportunity. I'm going to take the ball and run. I'm not going to be a sheep. I'm not going to be led to the slaughterhouse. Charles, you just scratched the surface, Charles. I have no doubt in my mind. You keep up where you're going, in no time, within a year, you'll be making well into the 7-figure range and more. I have no doubt. Any questions for Charles real quick? Great job, Charles.
I just want to say, Charles, thank you for being a part of the team. You bring a lot to the table. And one thing I would like for you to share with how you position yourself with your people that you sell life insurance service when there's a funeral occur, how you attend and you bond with your family, the family that you had just helped.
Charles, you're on mute, bud. Charles, we can't hear you, bud. We must have lost Charles. Michael, is he still on?
Yeah. He just needs to unmute.
Charles, you need to unmute. He's still muted.
Hey, I apologize, everybody. My connection was going in and out. What were you saying there?
Everett, ask that question again, please.
I was saying I would like for you to share with the group how you position yourself when a funeral occurs, or how you bond with the family. You know, when something like that happened, how you bond with those individuals just help with life insurance, and how that brings more business to you.
Yeah. So I did it at the meeting. The meeting, I positioned myself as the family insurance agent, or the family insurance man, whatever you want to call you. You know, it's really, really simple to do that. And then you let them know that you're going to reach out to them a couple times a year. That's what I do. And when something happens, unfortunately, a person will call. In the last couple of years, I've gotten my first deaths in this business. And they'll say, hey, look, this person passed away. What do we do? You know, I help them, get the insurance check. And I've even been invited to homegoing services, and that's what I mean by when the business comes in spurts. So a lot of people will start calling you at one time asking about life insurance, and you got to take the business because it comes in spurts. It's good money, but there's a big dry period as well too. That's why you have other products to sell. But I simply position myself as a family insurance agent, and people will reach out to you, especially, when it's that time, and you just kind of just really position yourself as a resource and be available to them. Answer the phone. This is the same number I've had for the last almost 30 years. Same cell phone number. I don't have a problem with giving it out, so answer the phone. And just whatever it is, it could be something really, really simple as who do I call for the check? Or how do we get the, what is it going to pay for? What is it going to cover? And just be available. That's it. Everybody will call you. Trust me, they will. It'll come in spurts, but they will call you.
Can y'all give Charles another hand, please? That was awesome. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Charles. Thank you so much.